I'll give it to you.
You like it?
Email it.
Yeah, I've seen it done.
Sure.
So,
Just email it to Todd.
if you like that, I have no problem with that.
Todd.
Oh, Todd.
I can forward it to him.
No, that's fine, I got that. So I'll email it, and then I'll put the original in your office.
That's fine.
How's that?
I just, they're gonna wanna see it before they're,
Oh, okay.
they're gonna wanna know what's done.
There we go, everybody.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I have to ask Pearson about that. Did I? Bad evening.
Came prepared. All right, everybody, here we go. It is 5:30, and it is the North Platte City Council meeting on May 4th, 2021. May the 4th be with you, for those Star Wars fans. Okay, come on. It's a cultural icon. It's okay. We are going to officially call the meeting to order, and our invocation is by Glenn Luttrell from KJLT Christian Radio.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day that you have blessed us with, a wonderful spring day. Thank you for this council. Thank you for the town of North Platte and all that is involved and everyone that is here. And we ask for your blessing upon this evening as many things will be discussed. And there may be some type of disagreement, but I pray, Father, there will be a calmness and that there will be ears that will hear. And we pray that for the city of North Platte, that we look at it as a whole, and that, Lord, you would continue to bless this town. And I thank you for the freedom that we have here and continue to have the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, and just the freedom to be who we are. And we thank you so much for all that you continue to give. And I just ask for your goodness and your blessing upon this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Luttrell. He might be out of the building already. I'm not sure. Okay, we have a roll call, please.
Nestle.
Here.
Tryon. Here. Bulls.
Here.
Lucas.
Here.
Garrick.
Here.
Harmon.
Here.
Richter.
Here.
Here. Thank you. A current copy of the Open Meetings Act of Nebraska is posted on the wall at the back of the council chambers, just above the chief's heads back there. Meeting procedure. The public may address specific agenda items at the pleasure of the mayor. If recognized by the mayor, please identify yourself by stating your name and address. Tonight we'll be using cards, but I'll get to that in a minute. Please address the council through the mayor and limit remarks to 3 minutes or less. 3 minutes or less, please. We respect our city employees and request that any complaints or criticisms of employees not be aired in a public meeting. Concerns about employees should be brought to the attention of the city administrator or the mayor. Individuals in violation will be declared out of order. Consent agenda. All matters under the consent agenda are considered by the city council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Any city council member may, however, remove an item from consent by request. Number 1, approve minutes of April 16th and 2021. Number 2, place on file treasurer's report for March 2021. Number 3, approve application by Platte Bar Inc. for a special designated license on June 18th, 2021 from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. and June 19th, 2021 from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. at Platte Bar 119 West 6th Street for a beer garden. Number 4, authorize the mayor to execute the purchase agreement for a 2022 Freightliner truck from Nebraska Truck Center for the electric department.
I move to adopt items 1 through 4 of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion Nistley, second Reeker. Calling the question, please vote. Thank you. Consent agenda passes. Moving on to the regular agenda. Number 5, Adopt resolution authorizing the redemption of the city's general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2013, dated March 12th, 2013. Various purpose and refunding bonds, Series 2014, dated September 9, 2014, and various purpose and refunding bonds, Series 2016, dated April 5, 2016. We have a variety of bond-related things on our agenda tonight. If we would like a general comment from Dawn about all these bond things, we could do that, or we can ask her to comment about each one separately. Anyone have any preference?
I would think all bond-related matters could be accomplished
Okay.
in one time.
One splash. Dawn, would you take the floor, please?
Mayor Kelleher, Mr. Kibben, and members of the city council. Currently, the city has 5 outstanding general obligation bond issues and 5 outstanding utility revenue bond issues. Of those, 7 are eligible for call and to be refunded to seek savings from a debt servicing perspective. So tonight's, the next 6 items on the agenda will accommodate, we are seeking your approval to refinance 7 of those outstanding issues. 2 of them are currently ineligible because they're 2019 bonds, and 1 issue is an electric bond issue that actually matures in fiscal 2022. So the cost to refinance that issue would be more than the savings that the city could realize. Currently, our bonds have average coupon rates of 2.13% through 3.5%. The estimates being used for tonight's request reflect projected average interest rates of 0.33% through 0.95%, so significant interest savings potential. From a dollar perspective, the total estimated savings over the remaining lives of the issues are $1.25 million. And so if there are other questions, I would be happy to.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for Dawn.
Go ahead.
Is timing of the essence on these, Dawn?
Timing is certainly, we would like to take advantage of the current markets, and so would request your consideration to suspend the rules and waive the 3 readings on the ordinances to issue the new bonds.
Thank you.
I understand you have some bond experts with you. Is that correct?
We do.
Okay.
Yes, I do have Craig Jones and Tobin Buchanan from First National Capital Markets are here this evening. And First National Capital Markets is the entity who has made the proposals in the informal bid process that the city went through to seek an underwriter for these issues.
So if anyone has any really specific bond questions, we brought some experts, as well as Dawn. So,
Definitely.
Mr. Mayor?
go ahead.
Don, what are the plans with what our annual obligations are? Will this lengthen repayment? Will that stay about the same? Or what do you see as the cash flow differential after the refinancings are completed?
These refinancings will not extend any maturities, so the annual cash flow from a debt service perspective will be reduced.
And if okay, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to comment that from what in my profession we're seeing out there is a lot of municipal bond supply coming on the market, so I think getting it done sooner rather than later is to the city's advantage.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for Dawn at this point? Don't run off yet. Okay, we need a motion to proceed. Thanks, Dawn.
I move to approve the resolution authorizing the redemption of the city general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2013, dated March 12, 2013, various purpose and refunding bonds, Series 2014, dated September 9th, 2014, and various purpose and refunding bonds, Series 2016, dated April 5th, 2016, as presented.
Second.
Motion Vols, second Garrick. Any discussion? Mr. Reeker, you have the floor.
I guess I would maybe add an amendment that we waive the 3 readings.
I believe that's on the next item.
Yeah.
Next
Okay.
item
Yeah,
6.
we just need to do that on the ordinances, not the resolutions. But thank you for your expediency, Mr. Reeker.
Always trying to help.
I appreciate that. We need all the help we can get some days. Okay. Any other discussion on this item? Calling the question, please vote on number 5. Number 5 passes. Moving on to number 6. Okay, we're going to need you here, Mr. Reeker.
Okay, I'm ready.
Make the appropriate motions. Okay. Action on ordinance number 4064, authorizing the issuance by the city of not to exceed $4,925,000 principal amount of general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2021, for the purpose of refunding the city's outstanding 2013 bonds, 2014 bonds, and 2016 bonds, and paying for costs of issuance. Mr. Kibben, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of general obligation refunding bonds of the city of North Platte, Nebraska, in the principal of amount of not to exceed $4,925,000 for the purpose of refunding outstanding indebtedness of the city, directing the application of the proceeds of said bonds, prescribing the form of said bonds, providing for the levy and collection of taxes to pay said bonds, to pay the same, providing for the sale of the bonds and authorizing the officers of the city to finalize terms of the bonds, authorizing the delivery of the bonds to the purchaser, and ordering the ordinance published in pamphlet form.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move to waive the 3 required readings on ordinance number 4064, and I move to adopt ordinance number 464, authorizing the issuance of Series 2021 general obligation refunding bonds as presented.
Second.
Motion Reeker, second Vols, to pass this on 1 reading. Any discussion? Seeing none, calling the question, please vote on number 6 for 1 reading. That item passes in 1 reading. Moving on to number 7. Adopt resolution authorizing the redemption of the city's water system revenue refunding bond, Series 2015, dated September 8, 2015.
I move to approve the resolution authorizing the redemption of the city's water system revenue refunding bonds, Series 2015, dated September 8th, 2015, as presented.
Second.
Motion Garrick, second Nisley. Discussion? Seeing none, calling the question, please vote on number 7. Number 7 passes. Moving on to number 8. Action on ordinance number 4065, authorizing the issuance by the city of not to exceed $2,185,000 principal amount of water system revenue refunding bonds, Series 2021, for the purpose of refunding the city's outstanding 2015 bonds and paying for the cost of issuance. Matt, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of water system revenue refunding bond series 2021 of the city of North Platte, Nebraska, in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $2,185,000 for the purpose of providing for the payment and redemption of certain outstanding bonded indebtedness of said city, directing the application of the proceeds of said bonds, prescribing the form of said bonds, pledging and
Hypothecating.
hypothecating, thank you, Mr. Nisley, the revenues and earnings of the waterworks plant and water system of said city for the payment of said bonds and interest thereon, providing for the collection, segregation, and application of the revenues of said waterworks plant and water system, providing for the sale of the bonds and authorizing officers of the city to finalize the terms of the bonds, authorizing the delivery of the bonds to the purchaser, and ordering the ordinance published in pamphlet form.
Should we pause for a collective chuckle?
Next time it'll say as presented in the material.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, Mr. Vols, you have the floor.
I move to waive the three readings on ordinance number 4065, and I move to adopt ordinance number 4065, authorizing the issuance of Series 2021 Water System Revenue Refunding Bonds as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, Vols, for one reading and a second by Mr. Reeker. Any discussion on this item number 8? Seeing none, calling the question. Please vote. That item passes. Moving on to number 9. Adopt resolution authorizing the redemption of the city's sewer system revenue refunding bond series 2011 dated September 6, 2011. Sewer system revenue refunding bond series 2011B dated September 21, 2011. And sewer system revenue refunding bond series 2015 dated July 22nd, 2015.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Lucas.
I move to approve the resolution authorizing the redemption of the city's sewer system revenue refunding bond series 2011 dated September 6, 2011. Sewer system revenue refunding bond series 2011B dated September 21st, 2011. And sewer system revenue refunding bond series 2015 dated July 22nd, 2015.
Second.
Motion Lucas, second Reeker. Any discussion on this item? Number 9. Seeing none, calling the question, please vote. That item passes. Moving on to number 10. Last one, folks. Okay. Action on ordinance number 4066, authorizing the issuance by the city of not to exceed $7,350,000 principal amount of sewer system revenue refunding bonds, Series 2021, for the purpose of refunding the city's outstanding 2011, 2011B, and 2015 bonds and paying for cost of issuance.
Mayor Keller, would you like me to read
Yes,
the
please
ordinance?
do that.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of sewer system revenue refunding bond series 2021 of the city of North Platte, Nebraska, in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $7,350,000 for the purpose of providing the payment and redemption of certain outstanding bonds of the city, directing the application of the proceeds of said bonds, prescribing the form of said bonds, pledging and hypothecating the revenues and earnings of the sewage disposal plant and sanitary sewer system of said city for the payment of said bonds and interest thereon, providing for the collection and segregation and application of the revenues of said sewage disposal plant and sanitary sewer system, providing for the sale of the bonds and authorizing the officers of the city to finalize the terms of the bonds, authorizing the delivery of the bonds to the purchaser, and ordering the ordinance published in pamphlet form.
Thank you.
I move to waive the 3 required readings on ordinance number 4066, and I move to adopt ordinance number 4066, authorizing the issuance of Series 2021 sewer system revenue refunding bonds as presented.
Second.
Motion Garrick, second Reeker on a single reading for number 10. Any discussion? Seeing none, calling the question, please vote. Number 10 has passed.
Mr. Mayor, may I interrupt you for a moment?
Mr. Lucas, you have the floor.
I need to recuse myself from the remainder of the meeting due to the potential for a conflict of interest on the mall redevelopment project.
Okay. It's nice having you here. Have a great evening.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for being here, gentlemen. Angie, you have the fact that Mr. Lucas left in the minutes, correct? Okay, thank you. Moving on to number 11. Our quorum size is now smaller, everyone, just so everyone is cognizant of that. So, okay, number 11. Approve the application of the Quality Growth Fund LB 840 Citizens Review Committee for a $1 million performance-based loan in 2 installments for the North Platte Mall LLC.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Volz, you have the floor.
I move to approve the application of the Quality Growth Fund LB 840 Citizens Review Committee for a $1 million performance-based loan in 2 installments for the North Platte Mall LLC.
Second.
Motion, Volz, second, Reeker. Do we have any discussion on this item? Seeing none, calling the question on number 11. Please vote. That item passes. Thank you. Now's where it gets interesting, folks. We have a public hearing. I'm going to read the action item here. Then Mr. Gibbon will read the ordinance. And then we'll do a couple things, and then we'll get on with the public hearing. Okay? Public hearing, number 12. Action on ordinance number 4067, amending the North Platte Code of Ordinances, Chapter 110, relating to occupation taxes to provide for agreement to the levy of a retail business occupation tax. Mr. Gibbon, the ordinance, please.
An ordinance of the City of North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, amending Municipal Code Chapter 110 relating to occupation taxes, providing for agreement to the levy of a retail business occupation tax, the levy of a retail business occupation tax, establishing definitions, providing for the administration, collections, return, delinquencies, and recovery of unpaid amounts related to such occupation tax, specifying how much or how such tax revenue will be used, providing for a sunset provision for the tax-related matters, and ordering the ordinance published in pamphlet form.
Thank you. Okay, we now have a public hearing. Since I have a little bit of mayor's discretion, I'm going to ask the gentleman from the mall to give us about 5 minutes on what you're doing and what your plan is here. And then I'm going to ask Mr. Pearson from the chamber to say anything you might have forgotten, Mike. So, or anything that Mr. Pearson would like to add. So you got about 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Go.
I'll try to keep it close. Short.
Thank you.
Mike Works, Lincoln, Nebraska. Thanks for having me here tonight. We're obviously here, we're in the process of redeveloping the mall. I think you've all seen probably things in the newspaper or it's in your packet as to the site plan and what we're planning to do out there. But our plan is, and it's really a three-prong, it's 3 prongs from the city helping us to make this a reality, and one of which just got passed. Thank you very much for the Quality Growth Fund. That's wonderful. That's step 1. The other 2 are the TIF and the EEA. Obviously, we're talking about the EEA tonight. If all 3 of these things pass, what we're able to do with that is to do a complete renovation and creation of a new mall. The building's going to stay as is, except that you will not have an indoor mall anymore. What will happen in the next 18 months is we will face all the tenants out towards Dewey Street. They will all have parking right in front of their front doors. We will get to do all of the infrastructure of the building. I think it's important to point out that this building was blighted in 1999. It's been blighted for the last 22 years, and the only thing that's really been done is a little bit of improvements in 2005, and that is it. So for the last 16 years, nothing's been done to this property at all. What that means for us is that we're stuck redoing all of the infrastructure. All that infrastructure includes demolition, it includes roof, HVA, heating and air, it includes all the plumbing, all the electrical, everything in the building that you don't get to see and that no one's ever really going to get to enjoy, right? Not going to be visible. That's what happens in the building. For instance, today I saw one of the bids for roof. That bid today was $1.3 million just to replace the roof. And that's just one of many things that has to be done there. The second thing that we have to do, that the mall is going to have to pay for with the EEA and the TIF, is all of the parking lot issues out there, which is puddling water, which you've probably seen when there's a big rain. We get as much as 2 feet of water on one side of it that sits for a period of time until it drains off. So what we're planning to do, if everything passes again, is tear up all of the concrete, all the old asphalt. We'll have a brand new, completely new parking lot, new lighting, new landscaping. Along with that, we'll have all the biggest expense is all the utilities that go underground. New sanitary sewer, basically all the plumbing and all that lines that have to go underground. The total cost of all of that right now, and we don't have final bids in, but preliminary bids, is someplace in the range of $7.2 million. The reason why we're here asking for the EEA today is, and if I could, and if I'm going to go a couple minutes over 5, I apologize.
You still got 2 minutes, talk fast.
The EEA was created in 2007. It was created specifically because the legislature saw that there were cases of dilapidated buildings and projects that TIF alone wasn't enough to cover. And they created an occupation tax through the EEA that would help pay for the rehabilitation of these areas. What they've done over the years then, many cities have adopted the EEA and used it on their projects. In fact, many cities have used it specifically for malls because it works great for malls, because we're talking about large, expansive areas, in this case, 28 acres of land, and an old big building that's 225,000 square feet, which means there's a ton of infrastructure that you have to redo. In our case, it's $7.2 million. Again, if TIF was enough to cover it, we wouldn't be here asking for EEA. Unfortunately, the mall TIF and what it's going to generate and what we're going to come back and ask for is $1.8 million. So the difference between the 7.2 and the 1.8 is roughly $5.4 million that we're short on how to fix the infrastructure of the building and the parking lot. And that's what we're here asking for the EEA today. And just to point out real quickly, there are a lot of cities in Nebraska, well, I mean, heck, we can go through those. Sydney, Grand Island, Lincoln, Omaha, Gretna have all used these 4 mall projects because they work so well for mall projects for that very reason. So, the way I kind of said this, there's several questions that have been asked to me about this that I'd like to address real quickly. First of all, what is the EEA amount? It's 1.95%. It's not allowed on groceries. That's another thing that's been asked, and I think it's important to point that out, that no one would have to pay any of this tax on groceries. What is the city going to be required to do? Well, as Matt Kibben and Mike Bacon have both pointed out, the city is already collecting sales tax from these same tenants, these same vendors. That's exactly what's going to happen here. They're just going to collect another occupation tax from the same vendors. All they're going to do, the only difference here is that once they receive it, they're going to send it off to our lender to pay for all the improvements that we're doing. So it shouldn't cause any more problems or any more work for the city, other than that one extra check that goes out the door. And in addition, the EEA ordinance and plan that we are trying to put in place today provides that 5% of any EEA collected actually goes back to the city to help cover those administrative costs. 3%? 3%. Even better for us. That's great. Thank you. Tentatively, that's going to be someplace between 9 and 23, 27, about 20, what would that be? 18. $9,000 and $18,000 a year to cover those administrative costs of the city. Hopefully that's enough for doing that on a monthly basis. Another one of the questions that we've had that is a very good question: why can't we collect this and raise this money some other way, specifically from the tenants themselves? And I think it's a fair question. I think the answer, unfortunately, is no, we cannot do that. Mike Bacon did a great job of explaining this, but the reality is that shopping in America has changed. We're doing a lot of online shopping. Malls are no longer the place you go to shop all the time. And what that means is that as tenants are leaving the mall, and you've all seen what's happened in your own mall, in 2015, there was 190,000 square feet of the mall that was rented. Today, there's 67,000 square feet. So you've lost 2/3 of your mall tenants in the last 5 years. And that's because of the way people shop these days. So what that means is mall tenants are in charge and are in control of the negotiation process. So when we come to a mall tenant and say, this is what we'd like for our space, this is the amount of money we're going to give you to build out your space, they tell us what they're going to pay. And some of you have heard this, but the best example of this is Dunham's. And we're working with Dunham's right now at the mall. We fully expect them to hopefully be there in the mall sometime later this year, which is wonderful for the city and great for our mall. But they came in and told us they were paying $5.75 a square foot. Okay, that's good. We went back and forth on this. We wanted $6. They came up to $5.90, and we argued about that 10 cents for about 3 weeks. And at the end of the day, they said, no, we're going to be $5.90. And that was the end of the conversation. And so the question is, could we make that up by charging them more rent? Could we do this EEA, make it up by charging them more rent? In their specific case, the amount of money that they would generate through the EEA, if we didn't get that out of EEA and we try to get them out of rent, we would have to raise their rent by $2 full. We can't get them to pay an extra dime. So there's no way we're going to be able to get them to pay $2 extra for their space. And so to answer that question, the answer is simply, unfortunately, no, we cannot do it. In fact, I guess one other quick thing about that. Back when the mall, 5 years ago, the mall was getting average rents of $9.75. Today, the average rents in the mall as it sits today is $7.10. So we've already lost $2.40 over what the mall owner was receiving per square foot 5 years ago. Now, the two new tenants that we're bringing to the mall, happy and excited to say that Dunham's is coming and a movie theater is coming. So excited to tell people that. But those two together, their average rent is $5.01 per square foot. I mean, we are going the wrong way, and it's going to continue to go that way, unfortunately. So if you want quality shopping and quality entertainment and those sort of things in your city, we've got to find some other way to fund that. So that's one of the reasons we're here for the EEA.
I know you're at 9 minutes and you've used most of Gary's time, so I'd say you got about a minute left. And I'm
All right,
cutting you off.
real quickly, I apologize. Okay, what does the city get? Increase in sales tax. I think that's the number one thing. The difference between what the city is getting now, just from our 18 acres, or 28 acres, sorry, and the mall, is about $8 million of sales. And on that, that's what? Sorry, $120,000, give or take, of city sales tax. What we're projecting after the 3 years of ramp up and everything's filled up at the mall is roughly $24 million additional dollars of sales that are being done at the mall itself. That's $360,000 of additional sales tax to the city. Whether you use that to lower property taxes, whether you use it for the general fund, whatever you use it for, obviously a significant amount of money. Increased property taxes. I know we're going to ask for TIF, but after that TIF rolls off, we're predicting that it's $38 million of increased assessed value. That equates to $760,000 of additional property tax to the city once those TIF rolls off in 15 years. Bottom line is, if we want the tenants that we want to bring to town, and you know who we're talking to Hy-Vee, we're talking to Target, we're talking to Kohl's, we're talking to Red Lobster. I mean, we're reaching out to anybody and everybody, but there's a number of people out, all of these folks, and I couldn't count on my two hands, the number of folks that have said, we're waiting to see what happens tonight to know whether you're really doing a full redo of the mall or you're going to piecemeal it in small pieces and do a little bit here and there before they want to know whether they're going to negotiate with us and talk about coming to the mall. So what we're asking you tonight is to approve the EEA ordinance because that allows us to take that next step and completely redo the mall to the point where we can attract the kind of tenants we want in North Platte. Thank you for the extra time.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm here to answer any questions later too.
Thanks, Mike. Even though Mr. Works used all your time, Gary, I'll give you the typical 3 minutes, okay?
What was that word? Prolificate?
Hypothecate, I think is, yeah.
I won't do that.
I won't start till you get back over there.
What is, Mayor Kelleher, city council members, city staff, and esteemed colleagues from around the community. This is good. Gary Pearson, President, CEO of the North Platte Area Chamber and Development Corporation. What I passed out to you is just a lot of the facts that Mike already went over, so I won't repeat those, but I thought it's important that you have them in front of you. So as the conversations go on, you have it on the back side. We did a little, we had contracted with Buxton to try to help us recruit retail into the community for a 3-year period of time, not a lot of luck. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that the mall was very challenged at the time. And there was a lot of work that had to be done for the mall. But what we did find out, and this is all through GPS tracking systems off of cell phone pings and that kind of thing, but there were 4,999 different zip codes that stopped in North Platte in a one-year period of time in 1999. That shows what an interstate community and a trade center generates in outside revenue from people who choose to come here. The key point I wanted to make tonight is that you have three different funding mechanisms involved in this project, this proposed project. And you did approve the Quality Growth Fund tonight, and really appreciate that. It did have a provision on it that for that loan to be forgiven, the developer has to produce $30 million in new investment at that mall site, and then the loan is forgiven. The other two mechanisms, tax increment financing and EEA, I think this is extremely important because we throw a lot of big figures around that a lot of people have the perception that the city's got to write these $1 million checks for all this to occur. And in reality, if you look at existing city resources, the only existing city resource involved in this entire project is through Quality Growth Fund. The other two funding mechanisms are strictly statutory laws that allow developers to utilize, provided the city grants permission to do so. 100% of the burden, 100% of the revenue falls on the shoulders of these two gentlemen here and the people who are financing their projects. They have to produce every single penny and dime of that. That revenue will never exist if this project's not done. So it's just really a pass-through, and you're creating new wealth in the process. Even on the property tax situation, right now it's producing $70,880 in property taxes. When this is fully developed, it'll be 11 times that, or $782,000 each and every year. And a great deal of that will still be there when the TIF bonds are retired. The EEA is something that's worked very well in these other communities that have it in place: Omaha, Lincoln, Grand Island, the Gretna Mall, Kearney. And if you think it's just a big city tax, I can tell you that when I was in Sydney, when this became law, we adopted the very first EEA that ever existed in the state of Nebraska. And after our first couple of months, because we were kind of the guinea pig, first out of the chute, we had to get software into the cash registers and so forth. Had a couple of months of chaos, but after that, it was totally seamless. And it paid off the project in less time than what we had earlier projected. And in 5 years that it was in effect, I actually had one citizen come in and question what it was on their receipt. So it really did serve its purpose extremely well. And I've seen it work. And Dawn and her staff are extremely capable of having that administering that very well. So it's also very important when you look at sales revenues. We had a study done, again, on mobile data analytics from a firm at the current mall site, and this was just recent history, the last 6 months. 65% of that revenue that's generated in that corridor today comes from non-69101 revenue sources. As I stated, there were about 5,000 different zip codes that stopped in North Platte and spent money in 2019. The $24 million of new sales anticipated every year. There's a growth of 500 new full and part-time employees over and above what's there today when this is fully developed. And all the city and the community benefit will occur from just $1 million in actual resources. Look at the city, and bless you for doing this, and thank you. It was long overdue and needed. But downtown North Platte, there was $5 million of new investment in the downtown area, and a lot of private sector investment as a result of the city's belief and investing those public dollars there. But those were actual resources. Majority of these resources are all generated at the burden of the developer. And I think we've all, I want to talk probably how many, one more minute?
1 minute.
So we got three big projects going right now. You got the industrial rail park, the Sustainable Beef project, and this. This project's probably generated more excitement than the other two, even though they're all very, very critical for the future of our community. And as a result of both of those other projects, we have several other companies looking at North Platte. We had six different companies contacted us because we're working on sustainable beef because they follow those projects around. The industrial rail park, in the last 10 days, we've had 4 requests for proposals from manufacturing companies as a result of just talking about the fact that we're going to have a rail park. All of those employees that we're going to need, they're going to look at North Platte and what's in it for my family? How am I going to convince them to come to North Platte and to live here? It's the things like the mall that's going to make them really excited about being here. So we need to keep clicking the cylinders on all 3 of those things and make it happen. And one final thing I wanted to say, we've all been a part of these conversations. We've all overheard these conversations of people that sit around in a coffee clash or whatever, and they say, back when, 40 years ago, we could have had this in North Platte, but they wouldn't let it happen. Well, we don't want to drive by that mall in 10 years from now and see a vacant parking lot like a community in Kansas who turned a project like this down, and now they've got a scraped parking lot sitting there where their mall used to be. And we don't want to be they. We want to show the state of Nebraska, who just said that North Platte was their Showcase Economic Development Community of the Year. That's a title we have to earn each and every day, and I'm asking you to help us keep that big momentum going, and let's go make a lot of things happen in this community.
I'm taking 5 minutes off your next speech, just so you know. Okay, let's see. I have one more person here. I want to get up here. Mr. Bacon, do you have anything to add to this process? Hopefully in 3 minutes are left.
My name is Mike Bacon. I'm an attorney from Gothenburg. I have represented the Redevelopment Authority, and I have represented both communities and redevelopers on EEA projects. Currently, what you have structured is this occupation tax ordinance. It requires 3 readings, so in order to get the process so that they're not starting on their rehab late this fall, this is on your agenda today. If it goes down, you still have a hearing on the redevelopment plan, but I will tell you that if you vote it down today, the redevelopment plan is dead. You can have your hearing, but without EEA, it does not go forward. You cannot amend the plan at the hearing. It goes either up or down on your vote. You have 3 opportunities after your vote on this reading to kill the project if you wish to do so. You have the 2nd reading, you have the 3rd reading, and then you have the vote on the redevelopment plan that will come later. I'll be glad to answer any questions. Everything that's been said, in my experience, is true. And the reason that Mr. Gerson talked about the place in Kansas, so I have a photograph of that mall in my packet. And they asked for EEA funds and were denied that. And they scraped the building. So that's how important these kinds of dollars are. That comes from the part of me that helped people do this in Scottsbluff and in Grand Island. So be glad to answer any questions.
Mike, just for clarification purposes, in the council provided information, the redevelopment contract is included as part of the EEA ordinance, and that is because there is a reference in the ordinance to the redevelopment contract, but for the purposes of tonight, it is substantively correct, and if there are modifications that need to be made, that can be 2nd or 3rd reading.
That is correct.
As we move through. Do I have
That is
that correct?
So the ordinance does 2 things. It imposes the tax, assuming it is finally passed, and authorizes the execution of the redevelopment contract. So I didn't want you to go forward and think, well, we don't have that missing piece, so this proposed redevelopment contract is there. it does provide that amendments can be made or changes can be made as the negotiation process goes forward, assuming you approve the development plan. So, any other questions? 3 minutes?
Thank you for remaining in your time frame. Okay, well, thank you everyone for indulging the card process for tonight. I am going to be a stickler about the 3 minutes because some of us like to get home before midnight, so. I will be calling your name. If by chance you're not here or you've changed your mind, you're welcome to not speak, but please do if you have thoughts. So the first one I have here, I believe, is Chrissy, sorry, I can't read that, Wiegand or something like that. 3015 Pawnee Avenue. Does that help? Chrissy? We've sent the police for her. You guys think I'm kidding. I'm not. The chief of police just went.
No, I was just, Mayor, I'm sorry. Did we open this up for public hearing yet?
This is public hearing.
I missed it, my bad.
That's right. Here she comes right now. Okay, the police have found you.
Hi,
Thank you
Chrissy
for being
Weekend.
here.
I
Okay.
live at 3015 Pawnee Avenue, and I am for the mall redevelopment project. So that's my 3 minutes. Thank you.
Very much. Kirsten Parker, 4001 West Redwood Drive. Kirsten. Takes a long time to walk from that conference room. Thank you, Kirsten.
I typed it out, so I won't even take 3 minutes.
Okay, go.
Kirsten Parker, 4001 West Redwood. The number 2 questions that I get are, where can I shop and where can I eat on a daily basis? And I just want to say that the sheer amount of funds that are going to be needed to create and operate a mall that North Platte is not only going to be proud of to present to tourists, but to also support really does need many, many, many resources to bring it to fruition. So I fully support the mall redevelopment plan along with the EEA tax so that we can bring this amazing, sorry, I'm winded after running from the other room. This amazing economical opportunity for our community. This tax is very, very common in the tourism and for tourists, and they're very used to paying such an occupation tax. I'm used to paying this tax whenever I visit to different communities, and I know that tourists are used to paying it for here too. And I would much rather pay that tax here and be able to shop locally. Thank you.
Thank you. Kim D. Bonamo. Please correct me.
Okay, hi, my name is Kim Bonomo, and I live at 3204 West 14th Street. And I just want to say, basically piggybacking on what Kirsten just said, I am all for economic development in North Platte, and I have lived here for well over, 17 years now. It's gone fast. And there has been several instances that I can recall where we were having things supposedly coming to the community that never happened. And in my experience with that, people just get in their car and they drive to Kearney. They drive to Grand Island. And I would just really like to see people stay here, spend their money here, help our community grow, and have more opportunities and things for our children to do and come back to. So I fully support it.
Thank you. I'll try to get your name right next time. Sorry. Daleen Skates, 474 University Drive. I like your t-shirt.
Good evening, my name is Daleen Skates. I am the Executive Director for Habitat for Humanity, and I also serve as the President of the North Platte Chamber Hostesses. Back in the 1980s, the Holiday Inn used to be where the Ramada Inn currently stands. Had a very popular lounge at the time that hosted comedians on Thursday nights. The first time my husband and I attended one of these performances, the comic shared with the audience that he had been to our mall earlier that day, both stores. Not much has changed in the last 40 years or so, but now we have an opportunity to make a real difference at our mall with this EEA. We have the good fortune to work with people who see the value in our community and want to be part of constructive change. The 43 members of the Chamber Hostesses have asked me to come here tonight as their representative to express our support for the mall project. These are businesswomen and community leaders who see an improved mall as a catalyst for success for all retailers throughout North Platte. There are those who will say that this is just about improving the shopping experience in North Platte, and on the face of it, that's absolutely true. But it really is much more. It is about making North Platte the very best it can be. It is about partnering with people who believe in our community as much as we do. It's about bringing back that regional hub that we remember North Platte to be. It's a pretty simple choice. Grow our community or allow it to continue down the path that it's on. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Chris Bruns, 8515 West Foothill Road, and also one of our county commissioners.
Chris Bruns, 8515 West Foothill Road, Lincoln County Commissioner. I am not here in an official capacity tonight, speaking for the board, although I do know that I have colleagues that do support this. I am here instead as an advocate for the people that this project and this ordinance change will impact that don't have a voice on this council. This project impacts the entire county. North Platte is the hub of not just our county, but the region. My hope is that you all will support this enthusiastically. You all have a letter, I know, in your packets of my strong feelings toward this. I'm a small government, less tax constitutionalist. When I look at this tax, there's a few things that I want to highlight. It's not a compulsory tax on the entire population of this city. It's a voluntary tax. People that shop at the mall have a choice to shop there. They have a choice to pay this occupation tax, this pennies on the dollar fee, user fee, if you will. I don't know of anything that if this doesn't pass favorably, I can't think of any other example of government not being in line with the will of the people. The support for this is palpable, not just in town, but in Lincoln County as a whole. And I know that you're getting inundated because I'm getting inundated from my constituents, not just here in town, but throughout the county. So I fully support this. I urge you to strongly consider it and be in favor of it and pass it on this reading. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Bruns. Mr. Backenstos, former city council member and generally good guy.
Good evening, everybody. Jim Backenstos, 2109 Iron Eagle Court. He just threw all my thunder, so I really don't have anything to add, except we got some exciting times going on in this community, and you guys and gals are all going to be involved in this. You got some tough decisions to make down the road. Tonight's not one of them. It's widely known that this whole city is supporting this, so I hope that you will vote for it, because I'm telling you, I'm sick and tired of driving to Omaha, Lincoln, or Denver and filling my tank up with $60 to $80 worth of fuel to go buy graduation gifts and other kind of things. I want to spend my money here in North Platte. So a $100 purchase is $1.95. That's nothing compared to what I'm spending in fuel and lodging and that kind of stuff to go out and do my shopping. So North Platte, we're ready for this, and I can't wait to see it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Chantel Birch.
Hi there, I'm from 2202 East D Street. I believe that the best leaders are the ones who can put aside their personal feelings to do what we have promised. In the case of City Council leadership, that promise is to represent the people of North Platte and what we want and what our community needs. My name is Chantel Birch, and since graduating college, I have made North Platte my home. I have volunteered in our community, I care about our people. I work here, I pay property taxes, and as a registered voter of North Platte, I feel that my voice and all North Platte voices need to be heard. A staggering amount of us are in favor of declaring the mall an enhanced employment area and for the proposed 1.95% occupational tax. According to social media trends on this topic in a post made in a North Platte group last check Sunday, around 97% of interaction shows favor for this project. In response to an email I received from a city council member about the mall development, I would like to take this time to answer their questions and some of their points. Firstly, I have faith in developers who have decided to work on repairing on our significantly damaged retail situation. They have successfully rehabilitated other malls in similar situations. It is not our responsibility to gatekeep what kind of businesses they should be allowed to bring in. Regarding the apartment complex, North Platte has an extreme housing shortage, despite the Shot in the Arm initiative. I encourage you to speak to your local real estate agents about the lack of inventory North Platte has. In addition to that, other projects, which most of you seem to be in favor of, has the potential to bring in over 800 families. If we do a lowball estimate of that, each family has 3 members, we are looking at a 2,400 population increase. We need places for them to live. Next, I would like to address the event center. The proposed event center is an absolute necessity. As someone who has to plan large events as part of my job, I can tell you that since the Holiday Inn and Creekside Event Center have discontinued these services, we only have one option in town for formal events with the capacity to hold 300 people indoors comfortably. A new convention center with exciting retail options will only bring more conventions to North Platte, which means outside money coming in. After speaking with one of the Harbor Lights owners, she stated that she would gladly welcome 2 more convention centers because our community loses so much business due to lack of venues alone. Next, the movie theater. North Platte has very limited entertainment for the middle class. Higher-end restaurants and entertainment venues such as the Cedar Room and Pal's Brewing Company, as well as casual dining such as Applebee's, are packed and often have waiting lists on the weekends. According to the 2020 census, the median household income for North Platte is around $54,000. Please find comfort in knowing that North Platters can and will support this business. You have asked, can the community support another grocery store? Absolutely, as our grocery stores, through no fault of their own, struggle to keep stocked. North Platte is a shopping center for several wealthy ranching communities for over a 100-mile radius. How many of us go to multiple locations to get everything we need because the shelves are empty, lines are into the aisles, or our items were unavailable? As many people drive to Kearney or Grand Island because of this issue, we need to provide a shopping venue that keeps North Platte money in North Platte. Although some of you may not be for this, EEA was designed for this special redevelopment project. While we also need the retail from a consumer standpoint, we need as many jobs available to provide employment opportunities to the 800-plus families who may be moving here. In closing, Ronald Reagan said in his farewell address, "We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us." I believe the best leaders are the ones who can put aside their personal feelings and do what they have promised. To represent the people of North Platte and what we want, we are for the EEA and occupational tax. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Cassie Condon. Cassie Condon. I thought that was you hiding behind Jeff's head.
That's me. That's me. Mayor Kelleher, Mr. Kibben, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm Cassie Condon at 3020 West Phillip, also Vice President of Economic Development of the North Platte Area Chamber and Development Corporation. I've been there for 2.5 years, but also a previous Platte River Mall manager. I worked at the mall for 17 years, 8 of those in the mall office, and 3 of those as the mall manager. As an economic development representative for the city of North Platte, I can tell you, attracting retailers in a community of our size is difficult. Our location on I-80 and Highway 83 is attractive. Our community ethics and our quality of life and our regional health care system is a phenomenal draw. That we can use to attract attention. However, not having an updated facility and a developer willing to invest in the property to maintain its appearance has hindered this mall's potential. In my opinion, EEA, TIF, and quality growth funds combined make this site a great opportunity for North Platte to become the next regional shopping center. After sitting through a demo with Placer AI this past February, which Gary Pearson had mentioned, they can show consumer trends, audience demographics, household income, zip code residency, consumer journey, travel ranking, favorite places, traveled, all of these different data reports, I know I had discussed with several of you before, they showed that in the last 6 months alone, from February and before, 35% of the shoppers at the mall were from the zip code 69101. That means 65% of those that come to our mall are from outside of our zip code. We can build on our regional pull. I have spent time researching EEA. That's what this printout is in front of you, the blue and yellow. You can see all of them across Nebraska. There's also the STAR bonds in Kansas, the public improvement funds in Colorado. They exist all over the nation. It's just hard to find them because each state adopts a different term. So trust me, if I had the time and not the children and all the other community activities, I maybe had more time to find them all. But this is an excellent way for large-scale developments to attract major retailers to our community and complete extensive work up front. EEAs work. They're common and people understand them. North Platte has a real chance to expand at an accelerated pace. For years, our community has begged for these large name retailers. This is our hope. This is what our community needs. I've sat at the other end of phone calls and emails and social media for years, having people beg for this. I pray we don't lose our chance. Thanks.
Thank you. Mary Backenstos.
Hello, Mary Backenstos, 2109 Iron Eagle Court. I too am in favor of the EEA. The mall has needed a lift for 40 years. We need new retailers within our community, and I pray that we move this forward for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Trzynski.
Mayor, if it's okay, I have a couple things. I apologize if I probably can't off enough of these. This might be something some of the council members have already seen.
Thank you.
Mayor Kelleher, council members, Mr. Kibben, as Mayor stated, my name's Bill Trzynski. I live at 1602 West Leota. I'm here today appearing as a member of the Chamber Board. I also currently serve as the Economic Development Committee's chairperson. So what I handed out to you, I wanted to just draw your attention to, because when I took over the chairmanship of the Economic Development Committee this year, I wanted to look at things and really think long and hard about what can we do about economic development in the city of North Platte. And so as a board, the Chamber Board and the Economic Development Committee put together this 5-year strategic plan that I handed out to you. And so you'll notice there are multiple areas within this strategic plan, but I wanted to point out just a couple on the second page. Specifically, we've already identified revitalizing the Platte River Mall. So clearly this has been something that's been a goal of the community. But more importantly, I wanted to just kind of direct your attention under the economic growth strategies category, specifically under talent attraction, next gen community. You might see that and think, well, what does that really mean? I mean, I don't know that I even really know it, but what I would like to really ask you to focus on as you consider what's in front of you now. With all of these projects that we're talking about, Gary identified several of them, and we all are well aware of what's going on. I think that with all of those, we have the potential to bring in so much more to the community, so many more jobs, so many new families. The question becomes, how do we keep those families here? How do we get them to come to North Platte for those jobs? If we're looking at growing this community, we also need to look at other ways to bring people into the community and then to keep them here. And so to attract this kind of talent, we need to do these types of things like redevelop the mall, because those are the kinds of things that are going to draw more people in, not only for shopping purposes from around the area like we've talked about already, but also to draw in more people to want to come and live here, to stay here, to be employed in some of these places that we're talking about bringing into the community. So I'd really encourage you to think about that as you consider what's in front of you today. And the other thing that occurs to me is, maybe this is just my own personal opinion, but I think it's really easy to look at what's in front of you and think about the terrible three-letter word that is so strongly associated with it, tax. What I would encourage you, as a member of the Economic Development Committee, think of it more as a four-letter word. This EEA is a tool. Certainly it is a tax, but it is a tool that can help us grow our community. We're all here for one reason. We want what's best for the city of North Platte, and the surrounding area. That's why I'm here. That's why the other people I think that you've heard talk today are here. That's why I think you're all here. So I really believe that the EEA is one way to really move the dial forward for all of these things that we're working on. So especially with this strategic plan as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandon Jones.
Brandon Jones, 2115 Birchwood Road. Thank you all for what you do. Appreciate it. I know it's a hard job sometimes, so thank you. I've had the opportunity to talk to all of you guys, except for one, either in person or on the phone. So we've kind of all went through my thoughts. Thank you for your time. Just looking at this as a huge opportunity for our community is the way I see it. We have guys that are willing to come here, put out the faith that, hey, this is the place to be. And I think we all need to embrace that. It's more than just this generation. I think our children, their children, I think, for North Platte to succeed, this is a good starting point. I'd love to see our youth come back here, my daughter, the kids in the schools here, and see our community really grow. This is a fee that we all pay when we travel somewhere else. We're paying the fuel to do it too. But this way it's a lot less. And maybe we can have our friends and family from the eastern part of the state, Colorado, wherever it may be, come see us, enjoy our community and everything else we have to offer. With a venue like this, it's a great opportunity to get them here. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Alan Erickson, please.
All my notes been covered pretty much. It's Alan Erickson, 3220 West Leota. Thank you all for your service, ladies and gentlemen. It's not easy, but we've just witnessed something that I've never seen in North Platte. Nothing negative. I've been here over 40 years. This is the turning point for North Platte. And you have a decision to make. EEA is used many places. As you've heard, it needs to be used here. We've been looked over, passed over many times because we didn't have the tools. Now we've got somebody that has the experience and interest. I've been in development, and it's not an easy task, I'll tell you. And it's not easier now than it was, and it has been for a long time, because people are very demanding on what they do and what they want. And the tenant finish costs, I hope they got their numbers right, because they might not have enough money, even with all the money that we are passing their way. And the changes of costs and the many, many things. But this is the turning point for North Platte. So please consider what you've heard, and let's get this thing going. Thank you.
Thank you. Gloria Tan.
Well, everybody's kind of said what I've been thinking. I drive to Kearney and Grand Island to do my shopping, and I would love to do that here, me and my friends would. So anyway, I am for the mall development.
Thank you. Sonia Wojcicki.
Sonia Wojcicki, 815 Stewart Avenue. Most of you got emails from me. You know how I feel about this. And I echo everything everybody else has said. I agree with all of it. What I do want to thank you two for taking an interest in our community. Thank you for wanting to better our area. And Bill is gone. That was wonderful what he said. A tool. You guys, it's a tool. Yeah, it's a tax. That's an ugly word. I get it. I don't like it either. But it's a tool. It's a tool to grow our community. I have my youngest daughter will never move back here. Never. Sometimes I don't blame her. It's a tool. Let's use this tool and do something with our community.
Thank you. Cammie Butler. Cammie Butler.
Cammie Butler. I live at 820 Stewart Avenue. Lived in North Platte for over 20 years, and I'm guilty of going everywhere else to shop. And I'd like to keep our business here and see North Platte flourish and thrive. I fully support this.
Thank you. Mel McNay.
Mel McNay, 3402 West F Street, representing Great Plains Health CEO. It's kind of wonderful in today's politics, you hear all this dissension right and left, but here tonight, the group is very united. They really are wanting to increase the spirit of what we're seeing in our young people that are returning to North Platte. This is something that we can offer them. You know, I get tired of listening to young professionals, recruiting them into our community, and the choice is, well, I can always fly to Denver, I can drive to Omaha for shopping. As a hospital, we've really grown. We cover 8 now counties in northern Kansas. Those people drive up here for their health care. What do you think they do or want to do as they're waiting for their procedures to be done? I remember when I was young going to a town near us where my mom would always save up time to go shopping. We have that opportunity here, and we can make a difference, and we can fulfill the spirit of this crowd behind us. No matter how we stand, they're united. They want one thing and more options in bringing people back to our community. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Marcia Bowman. Marcia Bowman.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to take this time to speak. I'm Marcia Bowman, 902 Sioux Lane. I moved here in 1986 as a much younger woman. And I came from the eastern part of the state kicking and screaming because my husband's job brought me here. And the first thing that we drive by is the mall. And so as a young person, that was very disappointing to me. It's ironic that I cried for 6 months and then I got involved in the community, and now for 30 years I have helped recruit medical professionals to this community. It is not an easy job. It is just as hard to recruit medical professionals here as it is to bring retail into this community. This project has created more excitement from the people that I have talked with, including our physicians and our physician families. And when you bring in physicians, you know they can be happy at our hospital. We have a beautiful hospital and we're very proud of it. But the families have to live in this community. What they're looking for is a safe, family-friendly community, which we have. We have good schools, and we're very proud of that. But what we do not have is good retail. We have been able to bring people in here, I think, them thinking, oh, retail will come. What's happening now is they're getting very disgruntled with what has happened with our retail and the lack of restaurants. I am also very frustrated right now that I have many friends, myself included, that when we want to buy something very basic, like a graduation gift, or women's clothing, or children's clothing, we have to go out of town. I don't want to go out of town. I don't want to drive to Lincoln or Omaha or Denver. And these families do not want to do that as well. They want to support the community. As you have pointed out, retail is not knocking down the door to come here. We have to be very aggressive with it. And I thank you for having the guts to come to North Platte and taking the risk to get this project going. So, as you can tell, I'm very supportive of this project. I hope that you have the courage to vote for this, for the EEA. As many have mentioned, it is not a tax for everyone. It is simply a tax for those people who spend their dollars here. I encourage you to help grow our community and keep young professionals in this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah Talbot.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Talbot of 757 East Briarwood Lane. I'm the Downtown Association president and then also a small business owner, which you haven't heard from tonight, in the retail industry. So just a couple of things to look at. Number one, the downtown has shown that if you invest in a community or a part of the community, how it can grow. We had a huge event last weekend where tons of people supported the downtown. So you put your investment into something that will grow. The downtown can't do it all, unfortunately. We would love to bring all these retailers in, but we don't have the space. So the mall is a great option for that. So I ask you that you support the EEA tax for that. Also, as a small business owner, I know people are concerned that bringing in these bigger retailers may be an issue or a problem, but the way I look at it, the more shopping, the more retail we have, it will just strengthen everybody else who's already in business. So it will grow and grab people who want to shop here, and they'll shop downtown, they'll shop the mall. We also, as a downtown, are looking forward to working with the mall retailers to create a good retail environment in our community. So we're in full support of the EEA tax. Thanks.
Thank you. Pat Jacobson.
Good evening, I'm Patrick Jacobson. I live at 805 Stewart Avenue, and I'm fully in favor of supporting the economic growth of the North Platte. I'd like to let my councilman, Pete Voles, know that I'm in favor of the EEA, so let's continue to make North Platte great. That's all I got.
Thank you, Pat. Kim Backer.
Kimberly Backer, 120 South Oak, Sutherland, Nebraska. I am the village chair of Sutherland, but I am here on a non-official form. I am here for myself and all the residents, most of the residents of Sutherland. They have come to me voicing their opinions about this mall program, and they are all in favor of it. They feel that this EEA tax, as you're calling it, is a tax of choice. It's not a tax imposed on anybody's personal property, or anything like that. It's a tax that they feel that they have the right to use and shop where they want. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Brock Worrell.
Thank you. My name is Brock Worrell, 1307 William Avenue here in North Platte. I don't know if anybody else has been keeping tally. I've got 20 in favor and 0 against right now. I hope that we can see a similar proportion when the vote comes up here in a little bit. So I emailed all of you yesterday my thoughts on this. So I'm not going to belabor this or take too much time, but I know taxes can always be a sticky issue. They always have been, always will be. However, under our current system of government, they're necessary. They're a necessary aspect of that, and we as the citizens, the only things that we can ask of those taxes that we pay are that they be equitable, that they be simple, they be transparent, and that they be limited in scope, amount, and purpose. I believe this checks every single one of those boxes. The EEA creates an economic development tool for us, as Mr. Trzynski mentioned earlier. This is a tool, another tool we can put in our belt that we can get out when we need it, we can use it, and develop our community. I encourage all of you to vote for this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh Harm.
Good evening, Josh Harm, 1120 Tanner Court. Again, thank you for your time this evening. I'm going to speak in two capacities tonight. One as a North Platte resident, second as the current board chair of the North Platte Chamber Board. First off, I'm more of a numbers nerd, so this is probably less passionate than some of the people behind me, but I'll try to make this brief, as I agree with a lot of things that were said. First of all, a lot of the people in this room are either on the board or have been, and so if you feel that passion that we've been working on, it's because we've been trying to find a solution for this for 5-6 years. And so we finally have something that, quite honestly, if you would have asked every board member there 5 years ago what their dream would have been for this parcel, it would not have been this good. We have one shot at this. And so I'm encouraging you to take advantage of this. And we'll just talk on a couple quick things. First of all, I think it's important that we put a numeric value to what the sales tax increase means. If we go ahead and assume that more people here are going to shop at the mall, which I think that's safe to say at this point, let's just say that it's 50-50. 50 in town are going to shop there, 50 out of town, okay? If we take the 3.6 million of assumed increase in sales tax alone, okay? Nothing else, just sales tax. That's $1.8 million that the city of North Platte gets to leverage because we created this tool that we gave people the ability to come here and choose if they wanted to participate. In closing, to that point, and also to Brock's point, I don't really view this as an approval on a tax. As I don't view this as you saying yes or no, I want to tax the residents of North Platte. I view it like this way. Give us the option to choose if we want to spend our money there or not. If you don't pass this and this doesn't happen, we don't even get the choice. Approve this EEA, give us the option, and let's make this a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a number of people listed on this card, so I'm going to start with Jennifer Crow, followed by Ali, and so on and so forth. So go ahead, Jennifer.
I'm Jennifer Crow, 20952 West Slough Road in Hershey. I'm for this. I'm sick of purchasing everything off Amazon. And I want to bring my kids back and have them be able to shop here in North Platte.
Thank you.
Elise Stout, 6583 South Miller School Road in North Platte. I had no intention of speaking tonight. I don't like speaking, but as I've sat here, I had a daughter who got married last year, and thank you, pandemic, we had to plan her wedding twice. I had to order almost everything online. I would have given anything to pay an extra tax to be able to go into a store and look at items. I pay this tax when I go to Grand Island. I pay it when I go to Kearney. I'll be honest, I didn't know I paid it. You see the tax, I paid it. It's not, it would be amazing to be able to go in and see items, see what you're getting. I can't tell you how many times I returned stuff because it wasn't what it was shown. It wasn't what it was presented as. So please, please give us an option to have places to shop.
Thank you. Amy Herrick. And then Megan Dowdy after her.
Hi, my name's Amy Herrick, 2521 Lynn Court. I have to agree, I was sweating bullets when I hit the door and found out these guys were all wanting to talk, and I was like, I don't know if I want to, but listening to this, it is a no-brainer. We need this. I mean, North Platte, I've been here my entire life, my whole life, and I've worked in medical, I've worked in entertainment, I've worked in advertising, now in construction areas. I always hear the same thing. What is there to do in North Platte? Where is there to go? And we don't have it. We don't have it right now. So, you know, I hope you guys do listen to your community and support this 100%. Thanks.
Thank you. Megan? then Crystal Johnson after Megan.
Hi, I'm Megan Doty, 2002 Birchwood Road. My husband and I are both healthcare professionals. We've lived across the state for schooling. We've returned here because we believed in the city and we were excited to raise our children here. We knew when we started having children, this is where we wanted to raise them. Since coming back, we've become involved in numerous organizations, volunteer activities across the state and in North Platte. And a lot of those activities include planning large events. And it is very difficult to attract vendors, but also to find the meeting spaces for those things. So it is exciting to see that maybe this could solve all those problems. And I would love to be able to be proud of the community that we knew we wanted to raise our children in. Thank you.
Thank you. Crystal Johnson, followed by Kathy Poppy, please.
Crystal Johnson, 820 East 6th. I just want to come and express my support for the EEA. We already pay this tax when we're shopping in Grand Island and Gretna and Kearney, and it's kind of a no-brainer to just bring it to our community to be able to build, especially since we can attract from so far around us. Scotts Bluff, all the way up to Kozag, Gothenburg, north of us, south of us. There's a great potential for a lot of business to come to our town and help support and grow our community.
Thank you. Kathy Poppy, followed by Denise Weiss, I think.
Good evening. Kathy Poppy, 1202 Custer Court. I would just like to say I am fully in support of this. I love the community of North Platte. I echo everybody else that has said things. I do have 2 children that I would love to come back to this community. One is a doctor, one is a dentist. I would love to have them come back here. I am not sure that their spouses would come back if we did not have any kind of retail, because they're both from the eastern part of the state. So I fully support this, and thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Kathy, please give your son's card to Mrs. Bowman. Okay, thank you. Denise, followed by Susie Knowles.
Good evening, it's Denise Weiss, so good job there. I just want to reiterate everybody else's opinion so far this evening, and I'm sorry, 2811 West Phillip Ave here in North Platte. I fully support this. I'm so excited to be here, and we recently moved here. It's been almost 5 years, and I can't believe the growth that I've seen actually in the last 2 years. Somebody had mentioned earlier this evening about Saturday night, and I was able to attend that with some friends downtown. It was super exciting. So it is very exciting to be a part of this community right now and see the growth and the potential that North Platte has. So I fully support it, as I stated. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Susie Knowles, followed by Wendy Thompson.
Hello, 1101 West, Susie Knowles, 1101 West B. I find this project to be a huge opportunity for North Platte, and as a young adult, I find this is a reason for me and my husband to stay in North Platte. And I would much rather invest my money into this community and give my money to the employees that would work for these businesses that come here. I am in huge support of this, and I really hope that everyone else is too. Thank you.
Thank you. Wendy, followed by Carla Beck, and then Heather Williams.
Hi, I'm Wendy Thompson. I live at 546 East Sagebrush Drive in North Platte. The only thing that I can add that anybody else hasn't added, and some people already have, is that I have 2 kids that have professional careers. One lives in Kearney and one lives in Lincoln. They both could live and work in North Platte, but they choose not to come back to North Platte because there isn't anything here. So I am in support of this. The reason for that is because I do want my kids to move back here. I want to be close to my grandkids. I also pay this tax. I'm guilty. I take a cooler to Lincoln when I go to Lincoln. I hit Hy-Vee. I fill that sucker up as full as I can, and I bring it back. So I would love to do that and keep that here so I'm not toting a cooler to Lincoln to fill that up. So I'm in support of this, and I hope you guys all support this as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Carla Beck.
First of all, I want to thank, my name is Carla Beck. I live at 2911 West 3rd. I want to thank all of you for your time. I know it's been a long night. It could be a long night. So I just want to first say that we have some gentlemen who've looked at North Platte. I'm sure they've looked elsewhere for this project, and they chose us. And I feel like we need to support that, and I feel like the city should choose us as well. So I am in support of the EA tax.
Thank you. Heather Williams.
I'm Heather Williams. I live at 114 West Phillip, and I am in support of the EA. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Melissa Irish.
Hi, I am Melissa Irish. Last time I was up here, I got the splash pad approved, so nervous. It's been a while. Okay, first I want to thank you guys so much for everything you do. This is probably the thankless job of your life. I appreciate
Three
that.
minutes, Melissa. 3 minutes.
Oh, that's part of my speech. I'm at 2204 Iron Eagle Court. If you know me, you know I like to talk. I talk a lot. So,
That's why I warned you. Keep going. Yeah.
I have spoke to hundreds and hundreds of people, people that can barely pay their bills or people that have a lot of money. And not one person has been against this that I've talked to. So what their concern is why is this even a problem? Because they get to choose if they pay this tax or not. They either go to the mall or they don't go to the mall. So they don't understand why this is such a problem. And like I said, I talked to hundreds of people. So I guess what I told them is this is a tax that they can choose, and they just said, this is my choice. Why is this even up for debate? Thank you.
Thank you. Kristen Simpson, please. Kristen Simpson. That was a pretty good body check you took there, Kristen. You came through the door. I admire your stature.
First of all, I want to thank you for your time tonight. I literally got up when I heard so many people speaking for these initiatives, and I could not sit still. I am so strong of a supporter of this initiative. We most definitely need this. I composed a speech standing in the hallway, so here we go. My name is Kristen Simpson. I live at 2510 West Leota Street. I've lived here in North Platte for almost 13 years, originally from Lincoln, Nebraska. My family and I are wholeheartedly in support of this mall project in all of its aspects. MPCC, our amazing gem of a college, is one of the top 10 community colleges in our country, and I'm the music instructor there. I am unofficially here. They don't know I'm here, so I hope it's okay that I mention that I work there. But I am most definitely interested in expanding our college and our schools as the school of choice for our children, for my children, and want them to stay here. As someone who, among others, have been tasked with recruiting students for our programs, there are not many incentives provided by our city to attract potential students and keep them here with their own families as they grow. College students need places for dating, for gathering, for fun. It is known that graduating high school seniors do not want to stay. Why would they want to stay? But here's a reason why. Having wonderful places in which to shop, to eat, a movie theater to attend, additional new quality apartments, and more, we would provide great incentive not only for prospective college students, but families with children who would fill our schools and our communities. We would be competitive with other communities our same size. Please, I humbly ask that you do vote yes on all current and future mall initiatives. If we grow and develop our city, we grow and develop our schools. If we grow and develop our schools, we grow and develop our city. There are so many proud small communities around our entire country, even smaller than ours, that are amazing places to be. North Platte, sitting on the interstate, has immense potential if we just take our chance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Joe Hughley. Joe Hughley. Mr. Hughley. Commissioner Hughley.
Joe Hughley, 1002 Deerwood Drive. You wondered why this is around here. That's so if I get lost at my age, people can get me home. Okay, it's not from the county. You can ask my attorney about that, and he'll probably agree.
I'm not sure if you're inspiring confidence in government.
I want to thank these guys. I've known Justin for a number of years when he worked for another company, and Mike, I appreciate it. I've seen some nice work you guys have. In fact, I was putting a proposal together for North Fork and Columbus. And Lincoln, we just came from there, so really fortunate to have you on board. I was trying to find something different that nobody has said, but right at this point, you just can't do that. I stopped over at your house, Jim, at 4:30, and I was gonna try to bribe you for your vote by offering to mow the lawn. You'd already came to the meeting, so you weren't there. So you're out of lawn mowing, but I'm still gonna ask for your vote. You guys are gonna have some really tough decisions as you sit back there. It's not always a fun place to be, but tonight it is. This is an easy one, guys. You're gonna have other issues that come before you that you're really gonna have to debate. Is it yes or is it no? But this isn't it. Just appreciate it. I spent 33 of my 36 years that I've been on the board as a member of the board of directors of the Development Corporation. I started back in, I think, 78 when there was another Gary that was the chamber exec that went on to be the head of the Denver Metro Chamber. So we're well represented by Garys. So with all the time on there, I've seen a lot of projects come and a lot of projects go. And there's always that one little thing, well, if we would have done this. I don't want to have to listen to the new board member. He's been on since January, and he was put on the Development Corporation in January. If I have to listen to him brag about in 3 months what he got done getting the mall here, I'm going to die. I've been on there 33 years, so please support it, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Last card I have is Dennis Thompson. I guess I have one more. Sorry.
I know perhaps this is, I don't know if this is even kosher. If you'd feel better, I can get down to a t-shirt.
Just get on with it, Chief.
I stand before you not representing the city, not the fire department, although I am blessed over and over again to be in a leadership position in the best fire department in the country. I stand before you as a member of this community. I've been here all of my 57 years. I've got more years behind me than I probably have ahead of me. And I guarantee you, every one of my years ahead of me are going to be spent right here in North Platte. This is my home. I've raised 3 children here. I've got 8 grandchildren and 1 on the way. I want them here. I terrorized my neighbors as a young child. You know what? They loved me through it all. I haven't always been perfect. I've made big mistakes. And this community has always been behind me and supported me and my family. We owe it to our community. The one thing I've learned, if nothing else, in my years at the fire department, in the position I'm in, we serve something much greater than ourselves. This isn't about us. I kind of look at it as I have an opinion, but that opinion really anymore is my opinion. We serve something much bigger. We serve the people of this community, and it's time we listen to the people of this community as they tell us what they want us to hear. We need something to happen. I've been saying it for years. I said it to Mr. Kibben when he came here. We are on the verge of something big. It's here. It's here. Folks, it's here. It's ours. It's ours. All we have to do is take the next step and watch this community blossom. I appreciate your time. I am honored to serve each and every one of you and to serve this community.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Okay, we're at about an hour and 20 minutes, so I've got 2 people left. I'm going to ask you to speak in just a couple minutes. So, Josh Spurley. Sorry to rush you, but I don't want to.
Hey guys, my name's Josh Spurley, and I am completely against this EEA. Just kidding. My brother-in-law Brock's back there. I think the tally's up to 37-0. And I just like to present an outsider's perspective. I'm actually a native Texan and have lived around the Southeast more recently and moved to North Platte several months ago in August. My wife, Caitlin, who's back there, we're so passionate about being here and supporting this initiative. We have 2 young daughters at home. They're 3 and 1, and this is our date night tonight. So we're passionate about this going through. It's just thrilling to move back here and been here for about 8 months. We get to raise our young girls amongst their grandma and grandpa, aunt and uncle, and cousins. Our family has lived in 5 different states over the last 8 years in towns with populations from 3,000 to 5 million. And we can confidently say that a place in which you live is truly what you make of it. In our humble opinion, the most enjoyable towns we've lived in were filled with residents and city council members who embraced healthy growth and did whatever it took to help their town reach its full potential. As I've lived here the last 8 or 9 months, one impression that I have of North Platte is there may be a group of naysayers here and there who may not believe that North Platte can create and sustain healthy growth. However, I believe there is a much larger group who has a positive outlook for this town's future and is hungry for creative problem solving and outside the box thinking by its city leaders. That being said, my wife and I are passionate about this mall project and are very hopeful to see the EEA pass. We feel we already experience a wonderful quality of life as we raise our kids in North Platte. However, we firmly believe that our town has only just begun to reach its full potential. We'd love to see our city leaders, such as yourselves, step up to the plate and approve the full extent of a project that would be a game changer for our town, like the new mall will be. I can appreciate that this is a complex project with a large price tag associated with it, and I'm confident that you are not taking your decision lightly. I can also understand there's a stigma attached to that tax word, but for whatever it's worth, our family would absolutely love to see the full extent of the mall project come to fruition and would gladly pay a temporary, voluntary 1.95% extra tax to the mall retailers to help make that happen. We are proud to call North Platte home, and we hope that this remains a wonderful place to call home for future generations as well. Thank you for hearing me out, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Last speaker, Judy Peterson.
Thank you. Judy Peterson, 411 Sandpiper Way. I served on council for 8 years, so I want to thank you for the time that you're taking to listen to everyone. I'm here as a small business owner. It's not easy being a small business owner, especially in these times. And what really makes a difference as a small business owner is when you have a growing community, a growing business community, new business owners coming in, entrepreneurs coming in. To my business, they need everything from their business cards to their signs to their brochures to everything else. And that's what's really cool is when we can help them do that. But if your community isn't growing and we don't have an attitude and an atmosphere of growth and acceptance of new projects and new people doing these kinds of projects, it makes it really difficult for the ones that are here. So I ask you to support this. Not only just for something new and a good place to shop, because that's very valid and very important, But for those small business owners that are in this community and trying to, we're paying taxes, we're paying property taxes, we're paying everything. But we really want to have this happen, and it's important for all of us, not just the new ones, but for the ones that are here. So I would really appreciate it if you would support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I've run through the cards, everyone. If someone wanted to motion to close the public hearing, they could do so.
I make a motion to close public hearing.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion Vols, second Nisley. Calling the question, please vote to close the public hearing or not. Public hearing is now closed. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your comments and your positivity.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4067, amending the North Platte Code of Ordinance, Chapter 110, relating to occupation taxes to provide for agreement to the levy of a retail business occupation tax.
Second.
Motion Vols, second Garrick. Discussion? Donna, you were moving. Did you have something to say?
Yes, I was, I don't know if everyone else has read this 60-some pages that we received and understood it completely. So I guess I would move to table this agenda item until we could have a work study on it, or work session.
Okay, that's a motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, hold on just a second. Let me take notes here.
I mean, if I can say something a little bit.
Hold on just a second. So we have a motion to table by Ms. Tryon, a second by Mr. Reeker. Is there a discussion on a motion to table? There is not, right? I don't think so. Okay. So there cannot be discussion on a motion to table, so we must go directly to vote. Since our number of members is currently 7, it will require a vote of 4 to table the item. Please vote, calling the question. That item fails. The motion is not tabled. Okay. So we have a motion on the original motion by Vols and the second by Garrick. We're back to that now. Is there discussion on number 12 at this point?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Vols, you have the floor.
We have heard passionate and overwhelming testimony tonight from the constituents of North Platte. Not only have we heard that, but I would like to remember back about 6-7 months ago and the results from the 2020 election in November, that the entire town of North Platte overwhelmingly approved a proposition by a margin of 70-30 with the name Quality Growth. So North Platte has directed a mandate to the city council for us to steer this ship towards quality growth. Our job on the council is to set policy and procedure, to ascertain that the visions of our constituents are accomplished. We are not here to determine if a decision made by a developer is in his or her best interest, nor are we here to insert our personal agenda. It's been said that North Platte never gets retail, never gets good things here. And it almost appears that we try to undermine that golden opportunity when it arises by not taking advantage of proven incentives that other communities welcome. Overwhelmingly, the citizens of North Platte have spoken and want the EEA tax approved. Any other vote besides a yes for the EEA tax will be perceived, and I emphasize perceived, as an overreach of legislative power and a disservice to our constituents. Thank you.
Do we have other discussion on this item?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Reeker, you have the floor.
Thank you. First of all, I guess I want to say I'm 100% in favor of this project. I think that the mall needs to be redone. I'm excited that you guys are willing to come out here and do that. I think it's something that needs to be done. I've been here a long time too. This is my home. I kind of joke I haven't bought a burial plot yet, but I'm getting closer. And I love it here. You people are all good people. I'm glad to be here. I have some questions about the proposal in front of us specifically, and Mr. Kibben and I talked about them earlier, and I would like to have a little more clarification on them. But I guess I'd like to give you my own personal thoughts. And I heard some groaning when I voted to table. It's not that I'm in favor of, I'm not in favor of the project, I'm in favor of the project. I guess what concerns me about where we are, and quite frankly, where we're headed, we seem to be on a trajectory where we have to have government involved in everything. And that troubles me immensely. I see some shaking their heads, and that's fine. We can disagree to disagree, agree to disagree. But I am concerned about that. I came across some information last week that 34% of the household income in our country comes from the government. That's a scary number. When we rely for 34% of our income from the government. Now, some have told me, well, this isn't government. And technically it is government. It's not federal government, of course. And some have told me it's just a pass-through, and it can be explained that way. The thing that concerns me about this is purely ideological. It has nothing to do with the development of the mall. It's how it's funded. I'm a private entrepreneur capitalist, and I think this can be done without government involvement. I really do believe that. It may not be quite as easy, but last I knew, this is a land of individuals who've taken chances and risks for many, many years, and some have hit it big and some have failed and started over again. But they did it without government. I think that's one of the things that I have to consider when I cast my vote. The thing that concerns me about this whole enterprise, the way it's being presented, is it would seem that we have so many factors in our culture today that are guiding us towards more and more government involvement. And I think that we are we're people, and we can make up our own decisions. We can make our own decisions. And I think one of the classic things that really concern me is this most recent outbreak of this disease that has plagued not only our country but the world. And we've had some of our own issues with the shutdown in our own community. And we've had government, in a lot of cases, determine what businesses are important and which are non-essential. I don't think that's the role of government. So those are my thoughts. A lot of you people have contacted me. I've spoken with a number of you. I've also spoken with a lot of people that are not in favor of the tax. And so I understand what Excuse me?
Sorry, folks, this is not the public interaction section of the meeting. Okay.
I appreciate you folks coming and talking, I really do. I wanted to hear what you had to say. But there are people out there that disagree. And my job is to try to do what I think is best for my constituents and what's best for our community. And I hope to do that. Mr. Kibben, I did have a question. And I don't know, on page 82, you and I spoke about this earlier, section 4, second priority. Is that something we are voting on tonight?
No, that's what I asked Mr. Bacon to speak to earlier, is this is in the redevelopment plan. And so tonight, you're focused on the ordinance. Substantively, the redevelopment plan is correct, but we do have opportunity to modify it if necessary. Mr. Bacon is in the room and can speak to what first priority and second priority mean within the redevelopment plan for clarification. But I think we have the answer to your question that you asked earlier. So, Mr. Bacon.
Sorry, I was getting a drink.
Excuse me, Mike.
He was getting a drink when you asked your question.
I was getting a drink. So the issue that you're looking at there is the priority for disbursement of the bond proceeds, which is essentially going to the costs of the city and putting the bond documents together. And that is not for continuing the bond at all. The bond would have a hard date based on two criteria: one, no longer than 20 years, or B, if it's paid off earlier, then it's terminated. So the redevelopment contract cannot change the ordinance, and the ordinance is very specific.
Okay, I thank you for that clarification.
Any other questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Thank you. That's all I had. Thank you.
Other discussion on this item?
I guess I'll go for it.
Ms. Tryon, you have the floor.
Thank you. And I want to thank everybody for showing up and speaking in favor of the mall. I am also in favor of the mall, in spite of what everybody has kind of been rumored. It wasn't. I don't want to see an eyesore there. The only thing that might change that is if the police department would like to move over there. I thought maybe you were sleeping back there. I guess I too am for smaller government, less taxes. I'm not really in favor of this almost 2% tax, and people say it's a choice. It is choice tax. We can still shop online, and by the way, I want to thank you two women for mentioning that, because when we get record sales tax receipts in here during the pandemic, with the mall in the shape that it's in, guess where we're doing our shopping? So I hope all of you will take a pledge to shop at this new development and not do online. I hope. I too have talked to several people. I'm sorry to say they are not here. They're elderly, they are on fixed income, and they're not in favor of this. And so anyway, I did not campaign for more taxes and bigger government, but I wish you guys the best luck. Thank you.
Mr. Carmen, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, some of you may know this, some of you may not. I'm probably about as conservative as anyone in this place. When I was Lincoln County Sheriff, I submitted very modest budgets. I drove an 8-year-old automobile for 8.5 years. There's a guy here that can verify that. In fact, he commented one time that about how conservative and how modest my budget was. I'm kind of an anti-government guy too, and I tend to agree that I think that we are heading in a direction that troubles me in terms of, I think we're heading toward a socialistic sort of society. So, but now back to what we're voting on here tonight. I try to make my decisions based on what I'm hearing from people. I got an earful tonight for sure. And I've had only one person contact me to say that they didn't think this was a good idea. So, and generally I get a lot of contact from people, widows down the street, just a lot of folks. But I've had overwhelmingly received comments about this matter that are in favor of its passage. And I think it's important to, and it's been said here probably several times already, if you don't want to pay this tax, shop somewhere else. To me, when I buy something, I don't even pay any attention to the sales tax, whether I'm here or someone else. Maybe should be more aware of where this money goes. But I think this is a worthwhile project. I think it's a strong step ahead in terms of growing our community. And I want to see some things happening. I've been here 40 years, and the population of North Platte hasn't changed over a couple hundred people in all those years. I'm tickled that a beef packing plant is considering moving here and bringing 800, or giving us 850 additional employees and perhaps an increase in population of about 1,500 people. I'm excited about all this stuff. I'm excited about what's happened downtown. It's beautiful down there. I had family in town a couple of days ago, and I took them down there to show them what we've done downtown. I'm proud of this community. I'm proud of the direction it's going. And I'm wholeheartedly in favor of approving this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Other discussion? Mr. Nisley.
I just want to make a brief comment. I agree wholeheartedly with Representative James Carmen. I think it's good comments. I just want to comment. We hear a lot about tax. The issue here is free enterprise. And we're going to bring in a lot of money into this town. That's free enterprise. That's what we're doing. This isn't government run. It's free enterprise. And that's all it is.
Thank you, everyone, for your enthusiasm to be here till midnight. Anna, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. One thing that does trouble me a little bit, we had been told that the city would not be in the business of collecting delinquent EEA tax. And in this material that we received on Friday via the internet, the city's very much involved in that. So I just want you folks to know that when times get tough for a retail business, the first thing they don't pay is sales tax. And the EEA tax, I see no difference. It's could be a problem. So it is government, I'm sorry, I think.
I disagree. That's
Thank
free
you.
enterprise.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Woods, you have the floor.
I appreciate y'all coming out. I've talked to a lot of people, and most of you are in favor of this. I have talked to a few who aren't. I've agonized over my decision of this. I wish you guys the best of luck. If this were not to pass, I think you would have a plan B that you would accomplish this. When I think of free enterprise, I don't think of the government injecting money into business. I don't think of the taxpayer having to pay a tax to get something built. I know this is the way development is done nowadays, and it bothers me. I have a suggestion that could help all of this, and you're all very involved. This is kind of off topic, but you should all educate yourself on the epic tax that Senator Erdman is proposing. Because what it'll do for the tax system in Nebraska will be amazing, and it will draw business and people back here. And if you will educate yourself on this, we won't have to have these discussions, because I don't believe developers will have to come to us anymore for the money to do this. So I thank you for your time, and I thank you for all showing an interest in these proceedings. We all appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Garrick, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I got to tell you guys, I've lived in North Platte most of my life. I am excited to see you guys out here passionate and supporting this project. Like, this is awesome. Like, this makes me get excited, and all the hard work that we're doing up here, it's all worth it. So thank you for coming out. I just appreciate it. And I got one other comment. Voluntary taxes, like, I'm a big fan of that. So Matt, if you could make all of the taxes voluntary.
Good idea. Do we have other discussion or jokes? Just kidding about the jokes. Okay, everyone, seeing no further discussion, prepare to vote. Calling the question, please vote on number 12. That item passes. Not without some enthusiasm, so that's good. Okay, everybody. Please exit quietly if you're planning to leave. Council, would you like to take a, maybe 10-minute break? Council people, we will take a 10-minute break beginning right now.
We have more to go. We do.
I did that once before.
Well,
No worries.
Thank you. Thanks for
Mr. Hughley? No, in all, hey,
This is the occupation. I was gonna ask a question. Okay, we've not hit the TIF issue yet.
We have not.
I want to make sure.
Okay, 30 seconds, everyone. Are you ready to read that? Okay, meeting on. We are back in session. Hold on. Let the record show that all 7 council members have returned to their seats. And we have, Donna, did you want to say something?
Yes, I did.
Okay, go for it.
Thank you. I'd like to apologize to the chief of police for my comment about, that I made earlier. I won't repeat it in case everybody missed it.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We are to number 13. Third reading and action on ordinance number 4061 to rezone certain land from a B-1 neighborhood commercial district to, and a B-2 highway commercial district to a PB-2 planned highway commercial district located at 1000 South Dewey Street, and approval of the master plan. We need a motion to go any further, everyone.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4061 to rezone certain land from a PB1 neighborhood commercial district and a B2 highway commercial district to a PB2 planned highway commercial district, and approval of the master plan on final reading.
Second.
I'm going to give Ed that one. So, motion Garrick, second Reeker. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Woods, have you aimed correctly?
I am, I'm really
Okay.
looking closely.
Calling the question, please vote. That item passes. Moving on to number 14. Third reading and action on ordinance number 4059, amending the City of North Platte Code of Ordinances, Chapter 156, Section 156.352, relating to design standards for parking lots, particularly regarding lighting and lighting performance standards.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Reeker.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4059, an amendment to the City of North Platte Code of Ordinances, Chapter 156, zoning, 156.352, relating to design standards for parking lots, particularly regarding lighting and lighting performance standards, on final reading.
Second.
Motion Reeker, second Garrick. Any discussion on item number 14? Calling the question, please vote. Number 14 passes. Number 15. Third reading and action on ordinance number 4060 to rezone certain land from an R-1 dwelling district to an H-1 hospital district located at 808 West Phillip Avenue and 805 West Reed Avenue.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 4060 to rezone certain land from an R1 dwelling district to an H1 hospital district on final reading.
Second.
Motion Reeker, second Nisley. Discussion on this item. Seeing none, calling the question, please vote. That item passes. Moving on to number 16. Adopt the resolution to approve Schedules 1 and 2 of Chapter 78 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of North Platte for parking regulations.
I move to adopt the resolution to approve Schedules 1 and 2 of Chapter 78 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of North Platte.
Second.
Motion Garrick, second Reeker. Any discussion on this item? We do have Mr. Berkland in the audience if anyone has questions. Would appear not. Calling the question. Please vote. Number 16 passes. Number 17, approved claims.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the claims.
Second.
Motion Reeker, second Garrick. Discussion on the claims. Seeing none, calling the question, please vote. Mr. Carmen? Oh, thank you. Okay. That item passes. Public agenda request. We respect our city employees and request that any complaints or criticisms of employees not be aired in the public meeting. Concerns about employees should be brought to the attention of the city administrator or the mayor. Individuals in violation will be declared out of order. This is the point at which the council agenda, if someone would like to bring something forward to be considered on a future agenda, you can approach the mic and do so. It would appear that no one is present who would like to do something like that. Mr. Reeker, if you would.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we close the meeting.
I'll second.
Motion Reeker, second Tryon. Calling the question, please vote.
Oh, wait here, well, or what?
Okay, we are adjourned, folks. Thank you for attending.
Have a good week, Donna.
Hey.
Council, just want to know I appreciate you letting me joke around during these meetings.
Great deal.
Yes. What a world this would be.